Hello Newburgh, Pastor Steve here with our Monday Minute for August the 31st, 2020. It's hard to believe that we're already at the last day of August. Tomorrow is September 1st, and whether we're ready for it or not, a new season is going to be upon us as we're already seeing the daylight growing a little bit shorter, our weather getting just a little bit cooler, which some people welcome from all of the extreme heat we've had. But nonetheless, a new season is upon us no matter how we feel about it, and we're getting ready to make that transition as well. We want to thank everybody for joining us at our outdoor communion service yesterday. We hope that you found it a very spiritually fulfilling time as we are able to gather together and worship and share in that sacrament. Look for more outdoor activities in the month of September. We've got our outdoor prayer walk coming up on Sunday evening, September the 13th. That is our prayer walk for education. And actually October 4th, a little over a month away, we'll be celebrating World Communion Sunday in a separate outdoor communion service similar to what we had yesterday, and we hope that you'll be able to join us for that. All of these, of course, are weather permitting. Also, we're going to be starting up a few new opportunities online for adult study. I'll be leading a book study. Our youth group will be starting up. We'll have other children's opportunities as well. Continue to look for those on our webpage. Finally, if you would please take our online survey about returning to in-person activities. That has been sent out through email if you subscribe to our email list, or you can also go to our webpage at newburghumc.org and you can fill that out there. That closes at the end of the week, and we really do want to hear what you have to say about that as we plot our course going forward. This Sunday is actually part of Labor Day weekend. I'll be taking some much needed time off. Probably many of you will be taking time off as well. Please stay safe out there and hopefully get the relaxation that we all need. For today's Monday Minute, I wanted to take a few minutes and talk about doing what is right. This has been a hard week. Actually, it's been a little more than a hard week for a lot of us, especially after the shooting of Jacob Blake. And we have seen tensions rise once again, and we've seen clashes with police in our cities, in Kenosha, Wisconsin, where it all took place there. In Portland, we've seen clashes there, and someone has died as a result of that too. And clashes with police even here in Detroit, as we're all still trying to deal with the issues around policing and keeping people safe and the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, it should go without saying that nobody supports violence. But if that is the case, then we must ask ourselves, why do we choose to respond to protests with the means of violence? And what I mean by that is, when people are peacefully protesting and they're greeted by people in police and riot gear, and we're openly welcoming people to open carry with assault rifles, why do we think that something bad shouldn't happen? We need to rethink what it is that we are doing and why it is that we are doing that. All of this is about being heard. Voices have been silenced. Things have been going on behind the scenes for far too long. And when voices want to be heard, they are going to speak out. And what has been going on around the country are an example of voices of wanting to be heard so that things can change. Voices are not being heard, and senseless violence is still taking place. And if you don't believe me, check your social media if you're a part of that, which many of you are. Ask yourself, when we look at social media and we look at even news reports, why are we looking for reasons to justify the shooting of a man 7 times in the back because he may have had a criminal past, but we are looking for reasons to excuse why a 17-year-old white boy, and yes, he is just a boy, just a year younger than one of my sons. Why are we looking for reasons to justify why he shot and killed 2 people and wounded another? We're not trying to rationalize any of this. We should be looking at this and saying, there is a problem. Let's identify it and let's move forward. But the fact is, as I said in yesterday's sermon, a lot of times we are either carrying too much of our own baggage to truly deal with it, or we're afraid to speak out lest of what others might think of us. But Paul says in Galatians 6, 9, and 10, "Let us not grow weary in doing what is right, for we will reap at harvest time if we do not give up." So then whenever we have an opportunity, let us work for the good of all, and especially for those of the family of faith. Friends, we're in a time in my life that I have never experienced. Maybe some of our baby boomers and silents have experienced some of this with the uprisings that happened in the 60s. That has come around again. We need to examine ourselves, and we need to be asking ourselves, are we doing what is right? And if we are not, why not? The answers of doing what is right might be different for each individual given our different and varying gifts. But what we cannot do is grow weary in speaking out for what is right. We need to end the violence. We need to make sure that people's voices are heard. And as followers of Jesus Christ, we need to work towards lifting one another up, not finding excuses and tearing other people down. What that looks like when we do that is a world that is transformed, a world that can be better than it is right now. That's what we're looking for, and that's what people are trying to find. But when voices are silenced and people are not heard, it's hard for people not to lash out. So let's do our part and examine ourselves to see what we can do to help de-escalate, what we can do to listen more, and how we can be better people and better followers of Jesus and lift one another up. And it starts by looking at ourselves and then not growing weary in doing what is right. Let's look for those opportunities to work for the good of all people. And when we do that, we'll see not only the violence go down, but we can see a transformed society where all of us together, as sisters and brothers, can work towards a greater goal of peace and love. Let's go forward and let's do so in Jesus' name.